Noble is the stablecoin issuance chain that mints 6 assets plus a new one. Today, Noble has already issued over $400 million in just USDC, and today, Noble is launching the Noble Dollar USDN with composable yield. Hopefully that was a good intro. Excited about the Noble Dollar launch.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was a perfect intro. For the past few months, we've been working very hard, heads down, on launching this stablecoin, of course, as you mentioned, called the Noble Dollar USDN, and I'm excited to kind of share what makes it unique and different and interesting than kind of what's out there right now. So thanks for having me.
I guess first of all, intro who you are, what is Noble? So go for it.
Yeah, so I'm Jelena. I'm the co-founder, CEO of Noble. We've been working on Noble for the past 2 years, and we really built Noble kind of from the get-go to be this highly performant stablecoin issuance chain for what we call the modular ecosystem, right? So as builders originally within the Cosmos ecosystem, you have this very fragmented environment of many app chains that all obviously require on one level or another reliable access to stablecoin issuance. So we built Noble to facilitate that process. So we're connected to over 50 blockchains, most of which, or in fact, all of which are in the Cosmos ecosystem. We are expanding kind of beyond Cosmos to the Celestia ecosystem and even the Ethereum ecosystem to be this reliable issuer of stablecoins. So we've done, in the last year, we did $6.5 billion of transaction volume and currently have about $450 million dollars of TVL on Noble, most of which is USDC.
Could you talk about sort of asset issuance and then sort of the 6 assets that you already offer? And then we can talk about a Noble Dollar.
Awesome. For sure. So we started off with native USDC. So we partnered with Circle to both support native USDC and Circle's Bridge, which is the cross-chain transfer protocol. We also support Ondo's USDY, which is a yield-bearing asset as well, backed by treasury bills. We support Hashnote's USYC, which is actually a tokenized security, which is also available, but in a much more permissioned kind of construct on Noble. We have Monerium's Euro E, so we have direct access and rails to the IBAN banking system within the European Economic Area, which means that you can actually mint the euro directly via your Noble wallet kind of on chain and be able to withdraw that to your IBAN bank account in this very seamless way. So a lot more use cases and developments are coming around that. And then, of course, we have our partnership with M0 to launch USDN. We also have a couple of other assets that we kind of announced we'd support, which is the Frax stablecoin, and also, of course, the yen, which is a Japanese yen stablecoin, although those are not live at the moment.
Could you talk about, so Noble is a like neutral asset issuance chain.
Yep.
So you guys don't, it's not just USDC. And then also a quick question, are we ever going to get USDT on Noble?
Yeah, exactly. So we are neutral in the sense that we really want to support kind of the blue chip issuers that obviously care about kind of distribution in this highly modular kind of fragmented context, right? So again, we solved for that in the Cosmos ecosystem with native USDC. In fact, we do have Tether in Cosmos. That's via the Kava chain. We just haven't seen that get a lot of adoption because, quite frankly, the way that sort of Kava kind of structured the issuance of Tether was very different than the way that Noble structured kind of the product, right? So when you're thinking about kind of going kind of modular or issuing this asset in this fragmented landscape of dozens of app chains, you really have to think about UX, right? You have to think about the UX under the hood, and that for an end user, you're not having to wrap and unwrap and take like multiple hops to get to your destination, whether that's DIDX, Osmosis, Injective, Say, or others. And so, of course, when we launched USDC, we made sure that it was always one hop from the origin chain, being Noble. Redemptions could happen, in a seamless way, kind of being integrated with centralized exchanges, wallets, things like this. So we really did a lot of the heavy lifting in the early days just to make sure that this kind of access to the stablecoin and this issuance model would really work for end users, of course, but then and also the issuer. So you do have this kind of maximum distribution within this particular ecosystem. And so, yeah, Tether, we've chatted with their team before, not as something that's kind of in the pipeline right now. But, that's really fine.
Yeah, I kind of bummed out. They decided to launch on Kava, which was weird. Could you talk about, I guess, the founding story of Noble, how it's a proof of authority chain, and then sort of the usage? I think DYDX is just the origin story of Noble.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we really started our journey actually after Terra sort of collapsed, right? Like closely following that event. So of course, for many kind of folks that were around back then in 2022, UST was like a major part of call it the interchain economy, right? Like Osmosis had massive UST volumes. UST themselves was like a $40 billion market cap coin. Of course, like throughout crypto, not just in Cosmos. And once that went to zero, we really realized we need a stable and reliable platform for kind of the more reputable kind of blue chip issuers like Circle to kind of come in and feel comfortable with issuing their stablecoin across this highly fragmented environment, right? And so we did a lot of work to establish the model. One of those components is, of course, the validator set and the proof of authority mechanism, right? So like back then and even now, right? Like launching your own layer one, your own app chain, you have to think about, of course, security. You have to think about, proof of stake, what that looks like. And for us, we really just wanted to build something very useful from day one. And we didn't really want to think about, a token or economic security or anything like this. We just wanted, a highly performant, fast block time, secure chain that could issue stablecoins. And so we went with the proof of authority model, which is honestly quite unique, I would say, in the crypto space even today. And what that means is we onboarded 20 validators. It's a fixed kind of validator, number, which of course we can expand over time, but 20 works very well for us from a upgradability perspective, from a security perspective, and also from a geographical distribution perspective. And so those 20 validators, of course, run the Noble software. They are known to us. I mean, this is all transparent, and they're all very reputable, well-known kind of validators. Everyone from Cosmos Station to Chorus One to ZK Validator. These are validators that have been around for some time, and that means we can coordinate upgrades efficiently. We can, in a risk situation where we have to, potentially, do an emergency upgrade that happens very quickly. Our upgrade times are consistently like within like a minute, both mainnet and testnet, which is really important for us, right? Because there's a lot of volume and activity on Noble, and we don't want, the network to go down. So it works very well. But of course, there are limitations to this as well, right? We don't have a VM on Noble right now. So actually, there isn't really an application like development environment on Noble for the time being. And again, it's very minimalistic, very, very, very minimalistic kind of architecture. It's, minting, burning of these assets, redemptions, right? The actual permissioning, right? Like authorities, things like this. But that's really kind of the extent of it.
Mm-hmm. So I guess you talked about sort of why there wasn't stablecoins in Cosmos, and then now sort of you guys sort of brought on all this liquidity into Cosmos. So I'm like grateful for Noble. Could you talk about sort of solving the not only liquidity issue, but sort of user experience?
For sure. So I mentioned a few things in that regard. So we do support Circle's bridge, the cross-chain transfer protocol. So, today you can go between Ethereum, mainnet, and Noble kind of in one click, kind of porting over your USDC. We're also connected to Solana, Arbitrum, Optimism, kind of major ecosystems. But one thing we built as well, kind of in addition to this kind of Circle's bridge, is forwarding. So in one click, you can actually go between Ethereum to Injective with your native USDC. So Typically you'd have to like use like a custodial bridge or even like a bridged asset to kind of have that experience. And for us, it's always native. It's one-to-one. You're not like routing between like liquidity pools, and like you're not exposed to slippage. The real main kind of challenge from a UX perspective is like ETH finality. But even then, we've actually incorporated Agoric's fast USDC technology, so that instead of like 20 minutes of ETH finality, it's actually like about a minute and a half, which can be even lower in the near future. So, this kind of one-click experience is really important to us for end users, but also for developers, right? Like if you're spinning up a new app chain and stablecoins are part of that equation, you can obviously source that from Noble in a very like seamless way. So we have like public kind of infrastructure to facilitate that, and it's all very straightforward.
Yeah, I've used it. It's pretty good. I guess now talk about the Noble Dollar USDN.
Yeah, this is a really exciting development for us, right? We started off being highly purpose-built for stablecoins, and we've continued along that path and always kind of iterating on like the user experience around stablecoins in a multi-chain context. But of course, thinking about like what do developers want, what do end users want. And so within that kind of research and journey, we've discovered there's a couple of things. So one, dollar stablecoins are really important for we see Circle and Tether like kind of being massively successful in this regard, right? And when I say dollar stablecoin, I mean like backed by actual dollars in a bank account somewhere in the world, right? Not like your typical algorithmic decentralized stablecoin model, which has its place, but for us, we really do value and admire the kind of traditional stablecoin model vis-a-vis Circle and Tether. At the same time, there's this incredible demand for yield on those dollars, right? And so Noble Dollar is a over-collateralized dollar stablecoin backed by treasury bills, short-term treasury bills that currently yield approximately 4.3%. And all of that yield gets passed on to the user with every block. And what that means is you have your principal of your stablecoin holdings kind of grow every day. And this is really interesting for a number of reasons. One, we want to maintain the UX around your traditional US dollar stablecoin, right? We don't want to kind of split the yield and the principal in a way where people are like confused. Like, how do I claim my yield, right? Like almost like the liquid staking model. Like it has a time and place, but we want to keep it very simple, very mainstream. So in the same way that you would hold T-bills in your bank account and you'd see that principal grow over time, we want that, but for the dollar on chain. And then secondly, obviously, when you think about like kind of developers and different kind of DeFi products and solutions, stablecoins are a big part of that picture, right? And so what the Noble Dollar really offers, kind of on the flip side to the user, which is the developer, is composable yield. So what that means is Noble Dollar will be available to different app chain builders, roll-up builders kind of throughout the ecosystem in a way that you could programmatically control where the yield is directed kind of on-chain in a very DeFi native way, right? So let's say the dollar, I mean, it is right now today, yielding 4.3%. Let's say you have a product, new launch, and you want to subsidize liquidity pools or incentivize certain liquidity pools for your community because it's kind of your go-to-market strategy kind of in the immediate term. You could take all that yield and you could do that in that liquidity pool. Let's say you are launching a token and there's a bunch of stablecoin issuance on the platform already. You could take that yield and say, you know what, we're going to take that 4.3% over the volume of the stablecoins on our chain, and we're going to do a buy and burn of our token. You can say, you know what, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to pass on like every kind of, person on our protocol gets all of the yield automatically. Or you could say maybe it's split half and half between the foundation and the end user. Like it's very programmatic and it's very DeFi native, which we're really excited about. So, of course, today on March 5th, we're launching USDN on Noble to start off and really kind of prove the model that like, hey, people, first of all, yield stablecoins are like yield-bearing stablecoins are like attractive, they're in demand. But secondly, we're launching a campaign. It's actually a vault strategy, a points campaign to actually show Like there are really interesting things that you could do with Noble Dollar with USDN, kind of out of the box, because you get that yield. And I'm happy to talk about the points campaign in a moment as well.
Yeah, talk about the points campaign.
Yeah. So obviously, USDN on day one, as I said, is available on Noble. You can get it with Kepler, MetaMask, Leap, Cypher Wallet, kind of more wallet support in the future. But one thing that we wanted to do kind of for the community is do a bit of like a incentive campaign. So we're launching a points program where if you hold the Noble Dollar and lock it in a vault for a certain period of time. And remember, this is a very safe stablecoin, right? Like backed by real treasury bills. The collateral is completely transparent on chain. There's an entire system that's been created around USDN by M0. I should mention that that's a very big part of our story. So Noble Dollar did not come out of nowhere. We've been working with M0 to kind of make sure that it's like safe and reliable and trusted in terms of the collateralization mechanism and things like this. But for the points campaign, you can kind of lock up your Noble Dollar in a vault. We'll run the campaign for about 4 months. And based on how long you lock up your USDN, you get points. In exchange for locking those points, you do forego the yield, so the 4.3% that I mentioned. But of course, the value is always very secure. It's $1. That does not change. Or you can say, you know what? I don't want Noble points. I'm really excited about yield. And that's completely, fair. There's a second vault. We call it the flexible vault or the boosted yield vault, I should say. And all of the yield that is foregone in the staked vault gets redirected to the boosted yield vault. And there you're looking at, 5%, 10%, 15%. Really, it depends on how many people forego their yield in the points vault. And then at that point, you can put your USDN there, accrue the yield, and you could take it out any time. It's not locked, but you don't get points. So yeah, that's kind of the strategy in the short term. And yeah, we're just really excited to kind of start developing and nurturing the early Noble community that way.
Can you give us a little bit more information on M0? I'm assuming it's a bank which would hold all these dollars?
Close, but not quite. So M0 is this kind of new model for stablecoin issuance, actually. And it's an Ethereum project that, again, we've been working very closely with for the past number of months. And the best way I describe it is conceptually, it's a merger between what Circle offers and what MakerDAO offers. So they have this dollar stablecoin that's pegged to $1, but the dollar stablecoin is collateralized by treasury bills, short-term treasury bills, held in real financial institutions around the world, so kind of outside of the U.S. And those T-bills are over-collateralizing the stable coins that they support. Of course, USDN being a major first mover within that. And so we are what they support is this kind of multi-issuance model, right? So they are supporting the white labeling service where you white label M for money in their system, and we're white labeling it as USDN. And within our community and our ecosystem, we're able to kind of be a distributor of that asset. So it's a very interesting, kind of very DeFi native protocol. All of the collateral is fully transparent, and it's attested to every 24 hours on chain. So you can actually see, the duration of the T-bills, when they expire, how many are in custody at the various banks that they support. And we're just really excited to be the first white labeled kind of version of M in the ecosystem, and to really kind of be the first one to be able to test out this model of this like multi-issuer model, which we're very excited about.
I'm very excited as well. I am a Power Noble user. I guess that's it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And I'm excited for USDN.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.